even though it's not alcoholic this time. Yeah.
That's
I just got iced tea. You got water.
some waters.
Cool.
It's been a rough week, and hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a big week. It's been, one of the biggest weeks of my life, I guess. Anyway, let's address our guest, who is usually, well, he's kind of a guest,
He's
but
not
really
even a guest. He's
Normally behind the camera, now we're in front of the
Now
camera
in
for
front of
once.
the
camera, yeah.
There we go.
Dylan Guy. The
That's
guy.
it. The guy.
The guy in the flesh,
That's it.
live and direct.
Tell us about yourself and obviously, for people that don't know, Dylan does a lot of videos. He's basically Perth
Who-
Cole Bennett right now.
Who is who is
Talking
Dylan?
me up too much right
Yeah,
now, bro.
That's
But
what I do, mate.
yeah, so I'm Dylan. It's weird fucking talking in front of the camera now about myself. But
Let's start with how'd you get into doing videos?
well, I've been doing fucking photos since like high school, probably. Just as I got out of high school, got a camera.
Is that something that you got into with school or just
Yeah,
your
like
own
we did
interest?
like media classes and shit in school, and then I was just like, oh, this is cool, whatever. You know, I just started doing photography because I was bored after high school because I was just like, man, I fucking don't do anything else. Like I don't have a job, so I was just I'm gonna do photography like just every day. And then from there, kind of just doing photos, kind of like progressing to film photography because it's, you know, like the step up sort of thing, and it was all good fun. And then kind of, when was it? Started last year, I think, was when I decided to like kind of push my photography like forward a little bit more.
Something you wanted to do as a career, or just
Yeah.
you were taking it more seriously?
Yeah, and so then like I started, you know, kind of doing more like portraits and hitting people up and just kind of trying to progress it more as a career and build a portfolio essentially. That's how like I met Marley, just through like DMs and shit like that, and that's how I kind of got onto the videos. Cause like Marley put out Mistakes, obviously, as you guys know, and then he's just like, "Do you want to do a
And
video?"
you did that video.
Yeah.
Yeah. for people
And so
that don't
then
know.
I just said, "Screw it, let's still video."
And so do you think like you wanting to do was music videos like an interest you'd previously had, or was it more like, oh shit, like, you know, because you're a great dude and you obviously fit in with the team really well, and it was like there was a kind of a hole that needed to be filled. Is that, and did that push you to do it, or was video something you already you thought you were gonna end up doing?
Well, because years ago, like, I messed around doing, like, a few little, like, skate videos, like, here and there. And it was kind of like, they were absolute freaking garbage, but, like, it was still fun. And, like, we just, you know, messed around. So I knew, like, the very basics of it. Like, I would never say that they were good clips, but, you know, the fundamentals. And
Interest you?
yeah. And so then when Marley was like, oh, do you want to do a clip for Mistakes? I was like, man, I don't have any gear for this. Like, how the hell am I going to do this shit? But I was like, fuck it, we'll learn, we'll figure it out. So
That's a point. Sorry, I just want to quickly touch on. It's like, it's a good personality trait. You have the ability to throw yourself in the deep end. Like, you're not exactly sure you have the tools to get there, but you sort of have a belief, and you're just like, well, fuck it, let's try. You know that. I
Yeah.
think
And see what comes out. Yeah.
in anything in life, and particularly in the creative field, that having that trait is very important. And sometimes you can really surprise yourself. Sometimes you might fail, but if you do, you'll learn from it. So
yeah, and I was super like surprised by the reception because like that video came out, obviously, what was it, like October, November last year?
it's
or
still my
something
favorite
like
video.
that. And it was like I filmed it on like the crappiest gear ever. It was like a Canon 600D. For anyone who like shoots video, you'll know that that's absolute shit. And it's like the crappiest entry level camera ever, but it did the trick, and it captured the vibe, I guess, of what we're going for. So that's all we can really, you know,
That's
what
all that
comes down
matters,
to the end of the
yeah.
day. So, but yeah, and I just realized there's so many resources online. You know, if you want to learn something, you just fucking Google it, and they'll just tell you, you know, and you learn. It's just easy as that these days. So
I think
There's
it's
no excuses, I
important
guess.
to like emphasize that point. Make do with what you got. Like, if that's all that you had, like, you finesse that nicely, bro. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I like that. Like, you just gotta go out and get it.
yeah, exactly.
And so, what are sort of things? I mean, you've had you've had a pretty big year already. I mean, you've just probably dropped one of the, I mean, most well received videos of this year with Lady Bird, and then you've got
banger.
Your Girl Foes. Oh my God, Surrender on Friday.
Exciting.
Which
one of my
yeah.
favorite clips, actually. to be
Yeah, me
honest.
too. Actually,
Yeah.
one of my favorite songs I've done this year. So, any things in the like you're looking towards? What's sort of the vision for you going forward? Is it just more of just connecting with people more and?
I mean, just kind of just continuing as is, you know, just like making sure that I keep enjoying doing what I'm doing. Because at the end of the day, I think it's like it's always like cheesy, but like if you end up like kind of on a path where you're not fully enjoying the original idea of what you started doing, it's just like, well, what's the point? Because videos have always kind of been like, in my eyes, like a side thing. Like, I don't know, I started doing it because like it was kind of an extension of something that like I'd always loved doing and like was into. So like music's always been like what most of my hobbies have always been kind of centered around anyway, like shooting artists, like videoing artists, like working with artists to an extent.
Lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle,
So it's like that's how it's always been for me, at least in recent memory. So that's what I enjoyed doing. And if it ever kind of went on a path that was like I wasn't enjoying it, I'd just kind of be like, I'll take a step back. But
And how are you finding like workload? And I'm sure you've got people all up in the DMs and like, are you finding yourself you're trying to be selective? I mean, from an outsider's perspective, I think you are in a sense. I haven't seen anything that you put out and I've been like, oh, he's just like said he'd do that. You know what I mean? But how are you finding like being selective with people and, you know, how's that process for you?
well, I mean, like, I wouldn't say that I probably get hit up like the most. I would definitely don't get hit up the most in Perth, like compared to like some other people shooting video, because, you know, obviously still relatively like new to this whole scene and stuff like that. So, but
It's got to be growing, especially after.
Oh
the
yeah,
lady.
I mean, definitely. Like people definitely want videos and stuff like that. And it's super exciting because, you know, see like more people, more artists are like coming out every day. So it's like more and more content to be made, which is cool and stuff. But it's really cool because it's always like seems to be through like word of mouth. Like, you know, someone will post something and then it'll be like one of their friends. So it's always like kind of people that you've probably heard of before, which is always cool. And then you just like, oh, like, and then you become friends with them, and it's always like a really cool like networking thing, as opposed to like I'm just doing a job for you. It's like, oh, we're actually like having a lot of fun like making this, and that's why the process for me I've always found so enjoyable, because it's just like hanging out, kicking it. Like with Marley, most of the time we're just taking the piss, and then it ends up like looking cool. Yep. So, I mean, that's just like the reality.
Yeah, man. Yeah, nah, but it's good. You've been such a valuable part of our team. Like we really consider you part of the team now. You know, even on the Thursday thing that we spoke about on last podcast, you know, you came through and filmed that, and it's like even on the podcast, Dylan handles all the board. Ash and
we don't
put
just
the
show
thing
up
together.
and we just like
I handle the
float.
audio. That's about it. Dylan does all the borders, and it makes a huge difference. And the thing that I really like about you is like you've got a lot of initiative. It's just
being
fucking
proactive
beautiful. Like,
is a key
you
trait.
fucking get what I'm talking about. Like you got people in your team that are proactive. It's not like having to like drag you on like being like, oh, can you do that? Like you know, you just like, oh, hey guys, I've got this new idea. Like, we're gonna do borders this week, you know, and it's just like, oh shit, you know, like he's already done it. He's already ahead.
Things
like,
that we don't really think about.
Exactly,
yeah.
and like if you got people like that, if you surround yourself with people like that, like really value those people. So man, just you know, shout out to you because you're very very valued. So anyway,
on another note, going back to it, I was just gonna say, what else do you do for people that don't know? Like, obviously you do the media and the photography.
I mean,
you're in my eyes, you're all around creative.
Don't be shy now. Tell them.
Yeah.
Well, I think like a few people know, like it's not like a big thing or anything, but like that. I've been making music for like a little bit now, probably like 3 years, maybe just over 3 years. And yeah, so it's been pretty cool. Like over like the last probably like even 12 months, even have been kind of like working on like my own project, so
Mm.
that should be out very soon, hopefully, if all goes to plan.
And for people that don't know, you're a producer.
Producer, yeah. So just cooking up some beats.
Producer
here-
soon to be DJ too.
Hopefully, fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
They will.
If all
We're
goes to plan,
recruiting
so,
them, yeah.
But yeah.
What about you? What's been going on?
House show sold out this morning.
Hey.
Yeah. So shout out to that.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. We've got
See you all there.
We've got a new event that's coming out end of September. I can't speak on that too much yet, but this is like, when you get tired of doing the same thing. I think we had a chat about this.
conversation,
Yeah, we had a chat about
About growth.
and complacency
Out of your comfort zone.
and getting out of your comfort zone. And personally, lately, I've been feeling like I've been inside the comfort zone for a while. So, yeah, me and the team have, grown the team a little bit. And, trying something new, man. So I'm, like, excited because it's like, the nerves you get when you like about to do something new or something that you haven't, like, actually done or, Just the nerves, bro.
Yeah.
I like it. I feed off that. Like if I'm not like on
It
edge.
means you're doing something. It means you're
something,
moving
yeah.
forward. I mean, like even what we're speaking about before with Dylan, like doing the mistakes video, which is like was a really successful video. That was him getting out of his comfort zone. You know what I mean? So good things come from
coming
that,
out of that. So it's gonna be it's just an interesting concept that we've got coming out. A little bit different to what we normally do, but like I think we got the right team and the right venue and the right people all involved in it, and it's gonna be dope. Given that like everything, stays the same and the border stay closed. So yeah,
Clive.
that's about it on my end, man. Just been chugging along, trying to get that off the ground. And yeah, August is a weird month, man. It's like a nice little transition month where like everything all happens, and then it's like the refractory period right now where it's kind of like
Back into
you're
it
just
all.
recalibrating and getting ready for that last push for the rest of the year.
It's been a pretty good end to this month, though, considering last weekend was pretty...
Yeah. Tell us about that. Let's go
Pretty
into that. I
successful.
know we've had discussions on that.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm
how was
fucking gassed.
How was your first event as an event manager?
Oh wow, it's weird coming from
Yeah.
you saying that actually means a lot. Yeah, bro, I'm fucking gassed, eh? Like this year has actually been probably one of the best years of my life, if not the best year of my life. Which I'm so thankful and lucky for. Considering all the madness, I think the one thing. Sorry, I'm going a little bit off track here, but
Talk your shit.
The COVID has just like put everything in perspective for me, because it kind of took everything away, and then we sort of had to build from the ground up a little. And it reminded me that I think I've said this before, but like it reminded me that the foundations are strong. Like at the end of the day, if we have to be 10-person limit and we're just all making music, I'm happy doing that. So it sort of made me a lot more content. And then for on the weekend to sell out a show and have people waiting outside trying to get in and shit, like that was wild. Especially because Marley is the first artist that I feel like. I mean, I've been with a lot of artists from the beginning, but Marley's different. I really feel like I've kind of developed him, from a mentor standpoint as well. So I've really seen him like when he was like 14. I met him when he was 14. For him to be 18,
True.
selling out his first show. I was playing cover gigs like at fucking
At that age.
at the National Hotel and shit, which is great. I wasn't selling out my own show
Shows,
in Rio, and so I had a moment, man. It was emotional, but it was so good, and everything just to kind of pay off. And I think the biggest thing is like I think we spoke about this a couple of days ago, is like I'm seeing the results from learning from my mistakes or shit that didn't go right. Like
Initially,
I've played shows that were supposed to be sellouts and not sellouts, and because of certain strategies, and I've seen rollouts of release not go well because of this and that, and it's like I've kind of learned from all that and for to have those things under my belt and to like, you know, make stuff work, you know, and some things out of control, but I've really been able to like, you know, work with the things that are in my control. And yeah, man, it's just really good. And we work so hard on really like, you know, building a show. You know, I just didn't want to do like a gig or a rap gig, you know what I mean? I really wanted to, you know, we had an intro and yeah, it was just really good. And those boys, man, shout out to Oscar and Marley, because, you know, they're so young, like they could be, it'd be totally acceptable for them to just like not give a fuck and just want to, oh man, we'll just do like the DJ thing, we'll just get fucked up. They actually like really, really care. And like that's so good. Like they're gonna go so far, you know. And I just really want to bring them up, so you know they surpass me, which they will. And like that's a beautiful thing for me. So yeah, I'm fucking gassed. This year I'm gassed. This month has been massive. I've had a release every week. You know,
bro, that's huge.
With people
bro.
that I want to work with, and I really feel like you know, even with the podcast and everything, it's like, I feel like I'm actually doing something that's important, you know. Like I have a song that's gonna hit. I feel like I'm boasting right now, but I have a song that's gonna hit 5 million streams, right? And that's really cool, whatever. But like, the numbers and shit are starting to mean a lot less to me now. It's more about like the shit that really matters, and it's like, you know, building a scene where people can connect to something, and like. And the love that people have for me for doing that and stuff, and like to show that, you know, even when we get feedback on the podcast and things like that, like I don't know, that shit is important, you know. Like I actually feel like it's purposeful.
It's bigger than like it's short term. It's not like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I look back on this time and be like, yeah, this was like fucking cool. So that's where I'm at right now. So, but I don't feel bad about feeling good. Like,
nah, no way, bro.
Nah,
sometimes you gotta.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think about
on that topic?
On that show, you're a fucking idiot. Because
Facts. I thought
it was like, it was a very special event. I think it was just like, I don't know, just like when we ran it back again for the second time, and then everyone jumped up on stage. It's like
Ladybird, yeah.
I was just like, this is just like hell good, eh? Like,
and that was the thing. We had the scene up there. There was Shadow, like, you know, doing hype, and like Zane.
Exactly.
You know, dude, this is beautiful. Yeah.
Like it was just like a really good night and just hell fun, and it was just important.
It was a moment, bro. Like Frio's son sells out Frio's, you know, iconic venue, his first show, your first show as a manager. Yeah, it's one of those things we're probably going to look back at like in a few years' time, or as a part of that story of this journey. So it's like, yeah, and I felt like everybody in that space kind of felt it and kind of was like, yo, this is like,
dude.
It was magic. It was magical. I'll say that. So like, shout out to you guys and your team, man.
Thank you.
And shout out to the scene as well, man. Just in general, like
actually,
it takes people coming out to support and being aware and following, and things like this can't happen. And
we wouldn't even be doing this if it wasn't for you guys.
For you guys,
that you liked it. We're like, you know,
and the feedback, and like, because for us, it's like, it's just, yeah, we feel it's necessary, man. It's a part of it. How do you feel, Dylan, as a like creative in this, like, I guess, emerging, bubbling scene that's happening here in Perth?
In regards to like kind of post COVID sort of situation, or just like in
general, like you've obviously been in this space for, you know, a couple of years. Like, what's been your experience in terms of like, how has it changed? Where do you see it going? How is it growing, and how has it affected you and like your drive and, you know, your art?
It's interesting because like I feel like I only really kind of discovered like this whole sort of scene like in depth at the start of like last year, really, to be honest, because that was when I started like kind of like actively looking for like talent and like artists.
Stuff now.
And I feel like around, you know? In that shit, it'd be like 2 years now almost. Like,
time goes quick,
it's
bro.
crazy, and I feel like in that space of time that I feel like I've been like almost like an observer of the scene. It's like the quality has gone up like incredibly, and I think it is definitely due to like people like J. Cal and stuff like that are like just more involved in like, you know, keeping the quality like in the city, as opposed to like just shipping it or sending it away to like not that there's anything wrong with like moving to like other cities to pursue like your thing, but I think we've spoken about it before on this, but it's like just working with like say mix engineers or mastering people that are like within your city like helps like get
Build the
everyone's
quality.
talent up, because
Especially because you've got, you know, insight into the industry. So you kind of already know what they're going to be looking for, what the standard is. And if you're going to be doing music, you need to think that every song you put out is competing with Drake's. Like,
Totally.
that's the
Totally.
same. You know what I mean? You guys are going to the
Literally,
same
why not?
platforms.
yeah.
Why
And,
not,
like,
you know,
it might sound like far-fetched, but, like, that's who's at the top right
just
now.
taking it
Yeah.
seriously. Like, you know, I feel like if there's anything, wow, that big shout. I feel like if anything's happened over the last, like, I guess 18 months or whatever, it's just like I feel like everyone's just starting to take it more seriously. You know, like Perth has become, you know, and I think COVID may have helped this along, but like Perth's become more of a like, oh, okay, like it's actually viable to do this, to do hip hop music here, you know, and R&B and whatnot. So, yeah, no, it's super exciting, and yeah. And yeah, a shout out, yeah, again, just reiterate, like, shout out to you guys who are, you know, in the scene and who are, you know, coming to shows and talking to us and
creating shows.
yeah. And just to say, like, if any of you are watching and you have questions or whatever, like, and I'm sure you guys are the same, like, seriously, like, hit us up, just DM or whatever. Oh, hey, like, can I pick your brain about this, whatever. Like, you know, we're really focused on, you know, helping the scene move forward. You know, it helps us as well. It's not totally like non-eager to, like, you know, but at the same time, like, yeah, we're super
and it's
down
good
to
to network and to know who's
Yeah.
in the scene and who's
yeah,
wanting
there's
to.
still people I'm finding out about. I'm like, oh, what the shit, like,
Yeah.
And it's like from Perth.
exactly, yeah.
So like, there's a lot
I'm
that's
excited
happening
for
here.
these new kids, like, to come through, people who are finishing high school.
High
now,
school.
and, like, what's going on there, you know? So
The 20, you know, the 2000 babies.
shit, dude.
I think everyone's just networking and like actually reaching out, because like that was one thing that I originally found like such a strange kind of concept, like just like DMing someone on Instagram, being
Cool. Let's touch on this, yeah.
and just being like, "Hi, do you want to do this?" And originally, like the concept of it was just like, how do you even do that? Like, because starting as a photographer, I was like, how the fuck do you, like, why would I just, how are they going to respond? Like, oh, like whatever. But then it's like, I think for anyone who like is actually interested in this, but it's like, people are actually a lot nicer than you think. It's
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
definitely,
like,
yeah.
it's, you just
reach
someone,
out and you see.
but at the end of the day, I think, you know, you got to be like offering to like add some sort of quality to their situation.
Let's touch on
or
this.
at least, you
It's
know.
I think, yeah, you're touching on like on relationships, you know, and yeah, how you sort of hit people up and stuff like that. And yeah, people are a lot nicer than you think. And it's also just about like leaving your ego at home. And if, you know, if you want to like get in with somebody and start working with them, just for God's sake,
Reach
just
out.
pay the rate, you know, if there's a rate or whatever.
Exactly.
Just, you know, I there's always like people that, you know, I'm sure you get it as well. They hit you up and then they're trying to like straight away like start swindling, like, oh, you know, if the song's only a minute, can I, you know, and then straight away for me, I just put them in a category of people that are trying to like, you know, but you know, the way I've always approached it, if there's someone I want to start, you know, being more involved with, I'm just like, hey, what do you do? Whether it's like somebody that I can get a lesson off or something, or, oh, you know, can we get a coffee? And you go and you're like, okay, I'll get your coffee or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, relationships it's about like a kind of an even exchange.
It's important, the whole, like, if you don't know the person, you don't just go straight into business, because it comes off a little funny.
And leave your ego at home. If you hit me up with an ego, or like you're like, oh, I've done this and this and I've worked with it, don't.
It's
Hey,
not
like, you
about,
know, just
it's not always about that.
No,
like,
no.
Yeah. And like, there's an instance recently where I have a lot of friends that are in the industry. This might be sensitive topic for some, but yeah, just consistency. Like, a certain individual had a bad experience from someone 5 years ago, because of, you know, at the time they're in a position of status or a position of power, and this person wasn't even, you know how sometimes people, when you're in that position, you think people are immediately coming to you for something.
Yep.
Yeah. For him, it was more so on like he didn't even know who the person was and was just saying hello. But the mindset that this certain individual was in was kind of like, no, I can't do anything for you. I can't help you right now. I'm too busy. Rah, rah, rah. And it kind of left a sour taste in this individual's mouth. And now, 5 years later, you never know where people are going to end up. And the roles have reversed. Yeah. And now it's like that once individual that was in a position of power now needs or wants or is like something. They need.
Be nice to people.
Just be nice. Don't burn bridges. No. Be nice to like whoever you talk to and who you network with. Not because like it's just the right thing to do, but because in the long run, you don't know, if you're going to be in this scene, you're going to be seeing a lot of these people for, time to come.
Definitely.
So just, good business practices. I can imagine for you guys, this is something that I've heard recently where people will hit you up and as soon as they realize like you're not going to do them a favor or something, they go cold. And like that leaves, for me, it kind of leaves a sour taste because it's like, well, how am I meant to behave now when I see and interact with you? Because it's like you've now gone cold and I don't kind of know what's happened. And
it's like usually after you tell them
a price.
It's like, oh, okay. And it's just like, I don't know. It's, I value my work and I think I'm priced pretty fairly, but I don't know. And when people sort of get like that, for me, it switches on the thing of like, okay, you're just kind of looking out for you. You're not certain. You're not necessarily like interested in an even exchange. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's just really a respect thing. And for some people, it's
because it's someone's time, man.
Yeah.
Like I can imagine for you,
and not just sorry to cut you off, but not just the time that's like, say if it's for a session, it might be like a time that's allocated. It's not that like just that. It's the time that was before that it took to you to get to that
point
skill level. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Once you get a degree, you get paid more because you now know the skill, right? You've put in hours in the stew and have put out, X amount of content. Similar thing.
Yeah. I think that as like anyone who's like, creative industry, whether it's like music, video, photography, like I don't even know, painting, whatever. It's like, I think that people need to understand if they don't already, it's like you have to put like X amount of hours in where you're not actually going to like receive anything back. It's just like the basic concept of like, what you put in, you will get out at the end of the day. And it's like, I even think of myself as an example, like, there was a time where I was doing like a lot of free shoots, like for quite a while, like almost like up to a year I was doing free shoots.
You wouldn't let me pay you.
Yeah, because like, I don't know, like back then, like I saw it as like, I almost thought like I was doing like, even though you were getting photos, like I felt like I was doing myself a favor at the end of the day.
It was practice.
It was like mutually beneficial. Right. So like, I thought like, why not? Like I didn't feel right taking Jack's money at the time because I was just like, I don't want to do that. But it then led to more jobs and more people knowing me and networking.
It's an exchange. It's something you have to understand. Like sometimes, we might do something for each other and actually, you know what? Our relationship is a great example. Like, I've done a bunch of mixes for you for your music that you've paid for, you know what I mean? But then there's been instances where, okay, there might be a song I do for you that I'm like, okay, man, I'm going to do this one for free because you've been doing so much stuff for the podcast, or you've helped me out with this, or you helped me out with that. It's really about understanding like what an even exchange is, you know what I mean? And being honest about that, you know what I mean? Like not just trying to like, oh, this guy's going to do it for free, like, so I'm going to take advantage.
Entitlement and expectation.
And it's like the thing that is and I really respect people that have that thing that are like, another good example with you was that like a payment had bounced back and you let me know. You were like, oh, hey man, like this, I got money back from this that invoice that you sent me. And it's like my respect level was just go, you know what I mean? Because like you're like, wow, you actually value my work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
people,
sorry, but like because my big thing is like, end of the day, it's like if I'm going to pay someone to do something for me, I'd much rather pay someone who is a friend or someone who is also trying to
come up
with me, sort of thing.
Grow.
Because it's like, why would I'd happily pay Jack because that means he can buy more gear, and that means that I can come into the studio and
And
work
have
with
a
him,
better quality
and
product.
he can get high quality. I can get higher quality. Like, I don't understand how that is not.
Investing in the community, bro.
And another example is, I put on a show, you bought tickets. You put on a show, I bought the fucking tickets, man. We're not like, oh, we would have guessed this, bro. No, fucking
Bro.
buy your friends fucking tickets, man.
Yo, that's mad important, especially your friends on the especially on the come up. That's when they need it most. Once you're made, like, it's calm. It's okay. Not to say like once you're made, but like there's a certain level where you need every single piece of support because it makes a difference. Once that foundation's done, right? My homies know they're reaping the benefits now. You know what I mean? Like 3-4 years in the game now. Now it's like pull up whatever you want. Like you guys were the ones that were funding this initially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you get the benefits later.
Because in the beginning, for a long time, in the beginning and the middle, it's really only the end where you're like, but like, especially in the beginning, you're just recycling the funds. Like, you know, we spoke about this before with Honeycut. You're just recycling it back into do better acts. With me, most of the time, I'm just recycling it back into buying so I can get better quality music equipment for you. And it's like, you bought a lens today. You know what I mean? That was probably a few videos worth of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, God.
But that's going to take it's going to give you more like
Exactly.
It's
access to
investing
your video.
in yourself. Help your friends fucking invest in themselves. If you're asking for free tickets because it's like, oh, you don't want to pay this X amount, man, that's fucking bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
Facts.
Fucking bullshit.
But then you go to some other random show that you don't know and you don't really enjoy.
Yeah.
200
Exactly, dude.
And you're like, cool, yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
But I'm a big I guess I'm big on like investing back in the community, man. All the shows I go to, I just show up, man. It's like, I know it's not much, like $10, $15. It's a happy meal. Like,
sale, man. Tickets sale.
and I know that it's I know it's going to where it's going to grow everything else. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, I don't think a lot of people look at it in that type of way.
I guess it's the whole like very different sort of analogy, but like, you know, if one person recycles, you know, you just hope that the rest, you know, recycle. And if everyone recycles, then that makes the difference at the end of the day. But you got to start with like one person.
It's a trickle effect, man.
So
Yeah.
But end of the day, it's how it starts, you know. Everyone just supporting their friends.
100%.
Support your friends.
What else can we hop on? What do you guys have anything exciting coming up? Like
I mean, yeah.
that you can speak on?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like by the time this podcast comes out, there's like a lot of shit. Like on it's like Friday this week is like
It's huge
good
for
for.
both you
I mean,
guys,
yeah, one of the probably for Dylan and I, one of our favorite pieces of art we've worked on this year. Your Girl Foe, Phoebe Gunson's new single,
amazing song.
Surrender. Yeah, I made that with another. I made the demo for the beat in Melbourne when Corona hit with my homie. Shout out Abraham Tilbury. Shout out DMD as well. That was in his house. He watches the podcast. So I know
shout out.
Thank you guys. They literally, actually, shout out to my fucking Melbourne. Like, shout out to my friends around the country. Like when I was, you know, jetting around there, you know, for the last 2 years, like they just let me stay at the house on the couch and like, you know, gave
That's
me
important.
alcohol, gave me weed and shit. It was fucking amazing, right? And just like they just look after me, bro. And like, yeah, I made that beat with Abraham Tilbury in that house. Yeah, as COVID hit, and then brought it back, sent it to Phoebe. She did the vocals, and then we finished it all up in my studio here. And then I basically, and this is the thing about like having a team now, because it's like, you know, I have shout out Zyro who does all my mastering. And I have Dylan, so it's like, oh cool, I've, you know, produced, I do the mix, I've got Zyro, and so like I'm having my friends eat now and like getting work because it's like my team, and then Dylan did the video, and so yeah, that comes out on Friday. I think we showed it to you a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it's flames. Yeah.
yeah, so we're super keen on that. I think that's probably a really exciting thing.
As creatives, right? Just me jumping in.
Jump in, please.
How do you guys deal with, like, obviously the inception of this song was like what, March or end of March, April, from when you guys
When
recorded
was the
it?
video done? Because I would say that's like when the release is ready, and that's when it starts to like. That's when everything.
That
When the
finishes
master's
everything.
done, the video's there. That's when the time is like, okay, now we're just literally sitting on it.
Because I remember I got sent the master after the video was
Yeah.
done, like a month or a bit after. So it was like, I swear it was like May for some reason. It felt like ages ago. But
It's been a few
I can't
months.
remember. But it's just, I feel like it's one of the videos that I've kind of sat on for a while now. And I still watch it and I'm like, oh yeah, I really like this clip.
Dope.
Yeah.
So it's aged well.
Yeah.
Dope.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know.
That song's aged well for me. Yeah,
It's just a really good song, like. But yeah, that video again, we just kind of went out and
One night.
yeah, one night we just thought, let's just hop in Jack's convertible and
And
drive
just run
around.
it,
And we
yeah.
just like
Let's
driving
make it
around the
work.
tunnel and shit.
Yeah,
like
it was a vibe. We just like, yeah. The thing of working with Dylan, because we worked on a couple of videos. I mean, that's the one I'd probably work more closely with you on, just because I was the driver.
with the cameo, yeah.
But, cameo. Yeah, I don't like to be in videos too much. I'm just like, dude, maximum like 2 shots, all right? Like, and so
Everyone's gonna think I'm Phoebe's boyfriend. Or
yeah. And so and Dylan's like great, like creating a vibe when he's working on videos. And just it's like the same sort of thing I apply when I'm in the studio. It's like, as much as like people come for my ability, it's also about like creating the vibe, about having a fun time. And that's, I think, all the video did was just capture the vibe we had that night, and it was
I think it was just like a case of like simplicity. Was
Less is more.
Yeah, less is more for that clip, because it was just kind of like a lot of it was like handheld, just video. Like at the time, I was like, "Oh crap, this is gonna look hell sketchy," and then I was like, "Actually, no, that's just like that was the vibe at the moment," and then it turned out how it was. So I was happy with it.
How does it feel like finally seeing like your piece of art out to the public? Because you, as a videographer and photographer, you get to see the whole behind the scenes process, right, up to a point. And then when it's finally out, a lot of people, that's the first time they've heard the song and seen the visuals.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever sat back and looked back and been like, damn, as a package, this is the first thing people are gonna see of this?
Yeah.
And
I
it's
think
like
that's one thing that
it's
like
actually a dope point. Yeah.
one thing that I was actually having a conversation with a friend about like a couple of days ago, and we're talking about how like it was their first music video that I was gonna be like shooting for them. It's actually can I say if it's not out yet? It was a song for Outland for my guy Aiden, and we were just having a conversation about like determining like aesthetic and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it's
And
important.
how like I'm in a way I'm like almost responsible for like what their like visual aesthetic as an artist is gonna be.
How people are gonna see them.
Yeah, and so it's like if I
it's the introduction as like
Yeah.
a character.
yeah, and then like directing the video as well, like I almost get to like choose how people perceive them, but at the same time it's a weird sort of responsibility, but that's one thing I really like is the whole idea of kind of developing like an artist's like image and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Especially in terms of like a lot of the content that we've done for Marley, because Marley's definitely the artist that I've worked closest
With
with,
the most, yeah.
as everyone probably knows at this point. But yeah, like from like the photos that we shoot, like it's always like super collaborative. Like me and Marley, like I don't even know if it's co-direct is the right term for it, but Marley
Totally.
will come to me with like what he wants, and then I'll be like, oh, how about we do this? And then he'll be like, oh, we'll do this. But then like at the end of the day, like the edit will always be like he still has a lot of input on the edit, like the final version. But like, yeah, it's interesting to see how even like how I like images like grown and changed over like the course of a year. Because like we shoot like all of our stuff on like medium format, like film. So it's kind of like I feel like that's been a big thing that people may or may not have noticed, but like I feel like that's become his very kind of distinct
it's part of
almost.
his
I don't know
image,
if
yeah.
people care, but it's
They do.
for me. It's I take a lot of pride in the pics that we've taken, like a lot of the covers that we've shot. Like pretty proud of a lot of that stuff.
How does it change when you work with different artists? Like, is it creatively draining? Because like, yeah, essentially creating a world, for example, for Mali. I saw the OTO drop that they did today, and I love how their visuals is unique.
I was gonna say
for them as well.
Yeah.
Like it must. Yeah, for me, I find it draining to like have to like creatively create this and then creatively maintain this.
Yeah.
Like, is it the same for you? Or
I think for me, it's an interesting. That's actually a really interesting point because like that's the one thing that I love working with OTR. I love about working with OTR because like their aesthetic is already like so unique and their music is like amazing already, and they like already have. They know the direction they're going in. They're just like waiting to kind of like
for a
blow
dope piece
up.
together.
So it's like Ches will just come to me with like, we're gonna have this idea and we're gonna do this crazy thing and this crazy thing, and now we're gonna build a fucking trampoline inside of the studio and fucking
Shout out Ches real quick.
like Ches has the craziest fucking ideas. It's awesome, but like we just always kind of make it work because they are very open with in terms of like their aesthetic. So it's like it's always got to be something wild or crazy. So I think that they know what they want, so it makes it very easy. Whereas like I feel not that it's a bad thing, but I think that artists that are just kind of that haven't done a lot of visual content before, they don't really kind of know what like their image is, which is fine.
I
Because
want a dope video.
yeah,
It's like the same as make me sound good.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I want a video. Or what do you want? Oh, I don't know. Oh shit! Like now I got to try and think, and I don't mind it because it's like I love coming up with ideas, but sometimes it's like crap, like because it is quite difficult. And I shout out to people that like constantly come up with like cool ideas, like Cole Bennett. I don't know how he comes up with like these insane ideas all the time, and I'm just like, shit. But it's fun though. I love just working with different people and figuring out along the way like what we're gonna kind of do, and it's always changes as you go. You never really like you have a plan and then it never goes to plan anyway. So
another important question: do you ever find yourself in conflict between having your own, I guess, style and image and look for videos as well as having to create one for the artist? Like, how do you distinguish between like, this is a me signature as opposed to like, this is me doing something for this artist?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question.
Or are you still like developing your visuals and your?
I feel like I know what kind of direction that I want my videos to end up, and I feel like it's just a matter of like, just like getting more experience and like understanding more of the gear more so than anything. I think that's like my main limitation at the moment is like
mastery.
Not really knowing like I don't really know like a lot of the technical stuff in reality when it comes to video because like I just prefer like obviously technical stuff is very important, but I also just like making it as with music, like not focusing too much on the gear and like making the music, making the videos and not getting caught up in like what lens is this and what camera does this.
Using your actual senses. Like for me, it's my ears. For you, it's sight.
Exactly.
Or more than just that. And it's like actually feeling it rather than, oh, okay, cool. Like I need to cut the vocals at 60. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, does it sound good or does it look good? Does it feel right?
Exactly. And I think that like one of my biggest influences, I'd say, in terms of like visual aesthetic is I don't know if I'm saying it right, but Yoni Lappin, who does a lot of like Mirror Masters like clips. I don't know if anyone like has pictured that or whatever, but he's just the way he like captures a lot of just very mundane sort of stuff and makes it like how interesting is just like what I really like. So just like not going heavy on like effects, because that's just never really been my thing. Just kind of making it more like this is what it is and real life sort of stuff. But in terms of recently, I have been trying to like work on my own like music videos for my own music. So it's kind of like trying to then determine like what my own aesthetic's going to be for my own sound is
Music,
like.
yeah.
How do I differentiate that between what I'm doing for other people? And that's kind of a interesting one, but it's been fun as well to think about. So
Where do
yeah.
you see yourself going in the next, I guess, 3 to 5 years? Like, where would you see yourself, and what would you like to be doing? Who would you want to be working with? Where?
Jeez.
Etc.
I mean, I kind of thought about it a bit, but I don't know. Like, I want to keep doing everything that I'm doing, but I know that like once it gets to a certain level with like one of them, that I'll have to like cut back on one thing because it's just like workload. But I know like that music is the thing for me personally that I've wanted to pursue like further than the rest. So I think that I may have to cut down on certain things in the future, but I guess you can do it all if you want, you know. It's like you just got to make sacrifices in certain things, but I don't know. I just love the whole idea of tying in like every visual or every, you know, form of art from visual to, you know,
Audio,
sonically and audio and whatever to like make a complete package, I guess. That's always been my kind of thing, you know. That's why I enjoy the music
you're
video
a bigger
so
picture
much.
person as opposed to like...
I just like to tie it all in and make it all kind of make sense, because I've always been someone who like sees a song drop and I'm like, oh, where's the music video? Like, is there a music video for this yet? Or is it out? Is it coming out? And then like once I see the music video, I'll be like, oh, I don't know if I like the song anymore. Like sometimes
because visuals are important, man.
Yeah, like it feels like it just makes it like real at the end of the day. So it's like it brings it to life, but
makes it real. I like that.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
That's why I feel like Mirror Master's like music, especially as well, like definitely resonates with me, because his music is like brought to life in like it's like there you can like see this is what it's supposed to look like. Do you know what I mean?
Wow, I've never thought of it like that. That's crazy.
So, and I just think like, you know, you just think London, you know, like typical London is you literally see typical London through the eyes of like Mirror Master, like in all those clips. That's like how I, like if you've ever been to London, like that's what you see. It's real. So, you know.
But I see what you mean. He brings you into his world type of thing.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah, because it's like that whole like bedroom producer like vibes. You know what I mean? Like he pretty sure he still makes music in his attic sort of thing, and just kind of vibes out like up there, and it's very like it's not trying to be like this.
It's real.
Amazing,
it's real.
Yeah,
I
like
think even a correlation that's for our work is like one of the top comments on the video for Ladybird on the Unearth thing is did my Subaru Forester just become gangster?
Yeah, I saw that.
and like it needs a life, and it's funny. But the thing that's like cool about that is like the comment under that is like, yeah, I think this is so dope that they didn't try to hire like cars,
Yes,
and girls.
That comment made me so happy.
Yeah, that made me so happy. I was like, yeah, exactly. Like it's in like a Forester, in like a family car in the IJ car park in Kubla. But that's what we're doing. Like that's who we are, you know. Like and so people really connect with that. Resonate with it. We're not trying to be something we're not.
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing. Like I just think, and that's why I think that like Marley and Oscar and like, you know, all going to be so successful because they've just always done the music that they want to do and always done it
always
the way
themselves, yeah,
and being themselves, like just down to a dude. So it's not like we're trying to be like these rock stars or anything. Like maybe one day, but right now it's just dudes like who are from like, you know, Frio. So it's like, well, why are we trying to?
Facts.
You know, so.
I think that's a good theme to end on.
Yeah,
be yourself.
You were thinking. You were thinking exactly what I was thinking.
We were telepathically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
And on that note, thank you for joining us, Sir Dylan Guy.
Dylan Guy.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, just any closing notes?
No, just let us know. Interact with us if there's certain guests you'd like to see on. There's certain topics you'd like to see us cover. We're really focused on.
I guess kind of We
feedback.
didn't even talk about what we actually wanted to
That's
talk
alright.
to
There's many
today.
more. There's many more
Actually,
episodes.
fair.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. We always kind of let it flow on this podcast. This
Yeah.
is just really a conversation. And yeah, there'll be many more. So
Stay safe.
peace, guys.